Hello, hello, hello. This is Warren Redlick breaking down the State of the Union address. Not very happy, of course, with what I see from our delightful. Not very excited by what I see here. Let's just start with this is before we get to the State of the Union address. Around the same time as the State of the Union address, Joe Biden tweets, and I believe this is in the State of the Union. Ford is investing $11 billion to build electric vehicles, creating 11,000 jobs across the country. GM is making the largest investment in its history, $7 billion to build electric vehicles, creating 4,000 jobs in Michigan. Elon replies, Tesla has created over 50,000 U.S. jobs building electric vehicles and is investing more than double GM and Ford combined. FYI to the person controlling this Twitter. In other words, Joe Biden is not controlling this Twitter account. Joe Biden has been trashing or ignoring Elon Musk and Tesla for his entire administration and before. And here he goes making this thing about Ford and GM when it is painfully obvious to anyone who's looking that Tesla is doing a hell of a lot more in terms of electric vehicles and a hell of a lot more in terms of job creation than GM and Ford. And Joe Biden is paying his dues to the unions, and it's sickening. But this is just one small part of the lies we're going to be talking about. And this is going to be a takedown of both Joe Biden and Kim Reynolds and the Republicans. This is a bipartisan problem. We are lied to by both sides. We're going to go through Joe Biden first because he's president. This is Joe Biden's State of the Union address. This is from whitehouse.gov, so this is the official thing. He says, tonight we meet as Democrats, Republicans, and independents, but mostly, this is just flowery language. Look, I'm going to say this just so you understand where I'm coming from at the beginning. Number one, I'm wearing the Come and Take It shirt. This is not a shirt I sell. I bought this at Buc-ee's. The Republicans and the Democrats and all the elites in Washington and largely the elites in the state capitals, it's them against us. And the elites in other countries, what's going on in Ukraine, what's going on in the Middle East, it's all elites starting fights with each other, and regular people have to pay for it. Regular people get killed, regular people get taxed for it. The elites, they just ride off it. They get kickbacks from their defense contractors and other supporters, and we all get screwed. And that's what's been going on for decades of U.S. foreign policy. And that's going to be a lot of this conversation. And it's bipartisan. It is not Joe Biden. It is not Donald Trump. It is bipartisan. Again, another fluff line, an unwavering resolve that freedom will always triumph over tyranny. Really? You really care about tyranny? Why have we been supporting Saudi Arabia for decades? What other tyrannies are we ignoring? The United States has supported many tyrannies over the last several decades. It's not about freedom against tyranny. It's about people on our side versus people on their side. And I'm not talking about our side like we, the American people. I'm talking about our side like the elites in Washington. Are you with us, the elites in Washington, to screw your people and our people? That's what it's all about. Cookie says, now I know you prefer this as a platform. Yeah, look, this is the thing. The reason this is on Locals is I can't say half this stuff on YouTube. I don't know what I'm going to get censored for on YouTube. YouTube is not a free speech platform. This is a free speech platform. I'm not going to apologize for the reality of it. Yeah, okay, Zelensky's become a sex symbol. Is that if there's any sign to you that this is a propaganda operation, the fact that Zelensky, the Ukrainian president or whatever, is President Zelensky, the fact that he's been turned into a sex symbol on social media should tell you everything you didn't know, that we're getting bombarded with propaganda. We have been screwing around all over the world for decades, and this probably would not have happened if we hadn't been messing around in the world. The supposedly free world is really an attempt to extend an American empire that is dying. And let's hit another point here. The U.S. empire is dying, okay, because the American economy is tanking while the Chinese economy is rising. The Chinese already have a larger economy than the U.S., and we are fighting a losing strategic war. The overall strategic situation, if you believe in power politics, and I don't, but if you believe in power politics, the harsh reality is that the United States economy is flagging. The Chinese economy is surging. Whatever you hear about problems in China, it's mostly BS. China's economy is thriving. China's economy is bigger than ours. It's growing faster than ours. The Chinese leadership, whether you like the fact that it's not democratic, I don't care. I mean, I don't like that it's not democratic either. I don't think we have a democratic situation in the United States. We have a pretend democracy. It's not a real democracy. They don't even pretend to be a democracy. To a sense, they're honest, right? We have a dishonest, fake democracy in the United States. But the harsh reality is their economy is growing. They are more productive. They have a lot of labor still to accommodate in the labor force. They have a lot of potential for further growth. We've become more communist. They've become more capitalist. And what's going to happen in the next 5, 10, 20 years is the Chinese economy is going to become the largest economy in the world by far. The United States economy is going to continue falling. We might still be number two, but we're going to be a distant number two. And at some point, it's going to be obvious we're not the big dog anymore. The psychopaths, the sociopaths who run this country still want to exert power. Same thing with Putin. Putin is the head of a country with an economy smaller than Texas. It's the 11th largest economy of the world. If you believe the statistics, it's probably smaller than that. South Korea has a bigger economy than Russia. Russia is surrounded. The huge difference, the United States, we've got oceans on either side of us. Canada's not a threat. Canada's got a population less than California. Mexico, they've been invading us for decades and we don't care, and I don't care. I'm happy to have Mexicans and Guatemalans and Hondurans come across the border and do labor Americans don't want to do. But I don't care what happens to Putin. Whatever happens to Putin, the next person to rise to power in Russia won't necessarily be better. And one of the things that's going on, you see a lot of talk about, oh, Putin's doing it for this reason, or the terrorist attacked us on 9/11 for that reason. No one bothers to pay attention, not no one. The establishment runs propaganda to tell us this is why they did it. They say that, he did this without provocation at some point. Please rise and show we stand with the Ukrainian people. I stand with the Russian people. I stand with people. I don't just stand with the Ukrainian people. I stand with the Russian people. I stand with the American people. I stand with the Chinese people. My problem isn't Putin. My problem is Biden and the Republican and Democratic establishment in Washington, D.C., and largely in certain states in the United States, the governments of those states. Being in Florida, I'm actually kind of fond of Ron DeSantis right now, but ultimately I probably would disagree a lot of what he does. But boy, he's a hell of a lot better than a lot of other things I see. So there's this line here that really got me going. This is the line that got me motivated to make this video. Throughout our history, we've learned this lesson: when dictators do not pay a price for their aggression, they cause more chaos. We have been aggressive. The United States is the aggressor nation. We have troops in 177 countries. We're bombing 7 countries right now. We have had an aggressive foreign policy for decades. Since World War II, basically, we've had an aggressive foreign policy. That's 1945. It's 67 years. We've had an aggressive foreign policy. We have been assassinating leaders of other countries. We have been coupping other countries. We've had coups in Iran. We've had all over Latin America. We have been messing around all over the world. We've been messing around in Ukraine. There was a coup in Ukraine in 2014, and they're not talking about that. They call Ukraine a democracy. We deposed. We participated in the removal of a democratically elected leader of Ukraine. I'm not saying he was a good guy. I'm not saying the current guys are bad guys. I'm saying let's not pretend that we're not an aggressive country. We paid a price on 9/11 for our aggression because we were messing around all over the world and somebody struck back. The problem is that the White House didn't pay a price. The Democratic and Republican establishment in Washington didn't pay a price. Other people paid a price. The Pentagon took a little hit. There were some other hits. The World Trade Center took a hit. But the leadership of the Republican and Democratic parties did not pay a price for it. The U.S. foreign policy establishment did not pay a price for their aggression. We paid a price, and they continue to cause more chaos. This is the line that really got me. This line right here, that just got me moving. And costs and threats to America and the world keep rising. This is not a threat to America. Ukraine is not, what's happening in Ukraine, Russia is not a threat to America. I don't care if Sarah Palin can see Russia from her backyard, okay? Russia is so far from the United States. Ukraine is so far from the United States. We manufacture the idea that this is a threat to America. It isn't. The threat to America is Washington, D.C., period. That's the only threat, because the Mexicans aren't a threat and the Canadians aren't a threat, and there's 2 oceans separating us from any other threats. If you believe that there's some threat to the United States, that somebody's going to invade us, send me an email. The only threats we face are the ones we create by bombing the shit out of other countries, killing other people, and turning other people into terrorists who hate us. You can pretend blowback isn't real. It's a CIA doc. The CIA understands it. Ron Paul understands it. This is the one. Putin's latest attack on Ukraine was premeditated and unprovoked. It was premeditated. Absolutely. Unprovoked is BS. The United States has been encroaching on Russian sovereignty. Okay, we have this concept called the Monroe Doctrine, that the Western Hemisphere is ours and nobody better mess with it. Well, do unto others as, this is one of those fundamental principles of humanity. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If we have claimed that this area around our country is our sphere of influence and nobody else better mess with it, then you can understand from the Russian perspective, they would say, hey, the area around our country is our sphere of influence and nobody better mess with it. And we've been messing with the area around their country. There's a lot of mainstream media that ignores the Donbas issue. There's a lot of mainstream media that ignores the 2014 coup. They call it a revolution. See, when the guys you like take over power from someone else, we call it a revolution. We call it an uprising. When the guys we don't like do it, we call it a coup. It's a coup. There was a coup in 2014. We installed our guys in power. That was provocation to Russia. We started talking about bringing Ukraine into NATO. That was provocation to Russia. Tonight I say to the Russian oligarchs and corrupt leaders who have built billions of dollars off this violent regime, no more. The U.S. Department of Justice is assembling a dedicated task force to go after the crimes of the Russian oligarchs. If you knew that the Russian oligarchs were corrupt leaders who were bilking billions of dollars, why weren't you going after them before? Why did you wait until they crossed this line? It was okay for them to be criminals until they crossed this line? Republican response. Let me turn to the Republican response really quick. It was just something that bugged me in the Republican response. Kim Reynolds. She talks about inflation in here. Kim Reynolds, she's governor of Iowa. Republican response. She talks about runaway inflation hammering our cities, a violent crime wave. The Republicans, and she talks about this as if the inflation and the government spending, she says the President and Democrats were warned that spending trillions would lead to soaring inflation. It's not just the spending. It's the money printing. And Trump increased spending like crazy. And George Bush Light, I'd like to call him Bush Light, George W. Bush, he increased spending like crazy. Ronald Reagan doubled federal spending and tripled the debt. This idea that Republicans are somehow fiscally responsible is nonsense. I'm not a fan of the Democrats either. I'm critical of both of them. They both keep screwing us.